Almost fall, and if you're watching this video in America, you know what that means. Football's back. As the wait for Tom Brady to win his 7th ring begins, I had to wonder, as football is, for the most part, a uniquely American sport, how would the American ape man himself perform? Well, until we get a highlight reel, this will have to do. For anyone who doesn't know, the NFL Combine is an event where invited athletes can participate in a number of events to get a measurement of their abilities. For the purpose of this video, we'll assume our sporting Sasquatch is 10 feet tall, pretty common for a male Bigfoot, if a little on the big side, and weighs about 1,300 pounds. There are more events than what I'm going to cover, but they'd either be too difficult to get one of these creatures to participate in, like the 3-cone drill, or kind of pointless for me to cover, like the Wonder Lake test. So we'll be sticking to the 225-pound bench press test, the 40-yard dash, and the
So starting off with the bench
jumps.
press test, since it'll be the easiest for me to get a number for, in my opinion. A while back, I made a video giving some rough estimates of how strong Bigfoot is compared to your average American male, link in the description, and I arrived at a bench press figure of 10,890 pounds. But the Combine doesn't measure 1 rep max. It measures how many times a participant can bench press 225 pounds. Now, this actually isn't too difficult to figure out. I used a few different benchmax calculators that I'll link to in the description and found an average of 1,476 reps. Now, for a little bit of perspective here, the current NFL Combine record for the bench press is 51 repetitions, and the highest number I could find for anyone was 70 repetitions. But football is a multi-dimensional sport. Strength isn't the beginning, middle, and end of the story. So let's take a look at the American ape man's alternative athletic accolades. Next up is the 40-yard dash. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's a 40-yard, 36.5 meters for our friends overseas, sprint designed to measure speed in a short burst. Now, as far as how fast Bigfoot is, you'd be surprised. It's a little tough to calculate because the two best videos, in my opinion, we have of Bigfoot moving, the Patty film from 1967 and the Freeman footage from 1994, show the guy taking his time, so it may be difficult to accurately extrapolate his running speed. We do have the Memorial Day footage from 1996, but its authenticity is generously called debatable. So, what can we do to get a figure for his 40? There are numerous eyewitness accounts of these creatures running down all sorts of objects, from deer, which move at 40 miles per hour, to even keeping up with vehicles on the highway, which is anywhere from 60 plus, but these are unverified, if eerily similar stories. So let's try to get some more concrete numbers. While humans evolved for long-distance running as opposed to short bursts of speed, the average athlete can briefly sprint at 20 miles per hour. Bigfoot's musculature makes an athlete a closer comparison than your typical Joe Sixpack. The average human has a stride of 2 to 2.5 feet. The creature shown in the Patty film is estimated to have a stride of around 52 inches, based off of an estimated height of roughly 7 feet tall. But Sasquatch doesn't always stop growing at 7 feet tall. The number I specified at the beginning of this video was 10 feet, so we'll use that. Now 10 divided by 7 multiplied by 52 inches gets you a whopping 74 inches, or about 2.5 times the length of the average human stride. Now 2.5 times 20 is 50 miles per hour for a short sprint. How does that translate to a 40-yard dash? Well, this would mean a Bigfoot, who could maintain that speed, would run 1 mile in 72 seconds. 40 yards is 120 feet, a mile is 5,280 feet, and 5,280 divided by 120 is 44. 72 divided by 44, 1.6 seconds. For a little perspective here, the fastest 40 ever recorded was 4.13 seconds by Bo Jackson, while weighing less than a fifth as much as our Sasquatch. For anyone wondering, the quasi-superhuman Usain Bolt's 40-yard dash time was 4.22. His success in 100 meters stems from his ability to maintain his top speed longer than his competitors, an ability that would provide more of an advantage. Finally,
in a
we have
comparatively
the two
longer
jumping
run.
events, the vertical and broad jump.
Now for the jumps, we actually do have some film to work with. This footage was taken in Russia and is said to be of a Bigfoot native to the region known as an almasty. The video does look pretty authentic in my opinion, so that's what I'll base the numbers off of for this part. So at this point in the video, he appears to be at the peak of his jump, which, after I measured it, came out to about 30% of his relative height. Now 120 inches times 30% comes out to 3 feet.
Unlike the other two numbers, this is far from a combine record, likely owing to his enormous weight, but proportionately would still be classified as above average. For the broad jump, luckily we can extrapolate a similar result and give a number of 156 inches or 13 feet. Numbers like this, I'd say it's pretty safe to assume Bigfoot would be a number one pick. I mean, he technically isn't, 3 years out of high school, but Trevor Lawrence can't bench press 5.5 tons, so really it's all even. I guess the only question is, what position do you put the big guy in? Let me know which one you'd pick in the comments section below.